to start it.
Conditioning and, yeah.
How's baseball going?
Very well. Yeah, all 4 Legion teams made the state tournament. Cody's a Calgary player, so we leave for state. They play the first game Friday in Riverton.
Where is it?
In Riverton, yeah.
Of course.
The Jets are very likely making the same state tournament as the Troopers this year. That's one 8 plays on. So they'll both be in Division I state. The question is, are they going to be the 3 seed or the 4 seed?
Okay.
There's still a chance that I think the 2 seeds kind of been locked out of that, but yeah, to imagine both of your A and AA teams making the AA state tournament is pretty
That's
good.
exciting.
That's good.
Pretty good year. He has a great ERA. Yeah.
What's he at?
Well, it was .98, and I think now it's like 1.2.
What's his whip? I
I
don't even know. I've seen whip.
Yeah,
What is freaking whip? There's so many.
walks and hits per innings pitched. Yeah, so it's like 1.4.
Shut up. You're geeky,
Pretty
shut up.
solid.
Stats, aren't you?
Yeah, he's pitching this year. Normally he doesn't. Normally he's caught and played outfield, and so he's doing a little more pitching this year because of just what they needed for the Jets. So I think he'll stay a Jet next year and cash in.
Have you made a spreadsheet for your son?
No. I
What
have
kind of
basically looked at who's playing now and who's coming through, and so I've mapped out who will likely be Troopers, Jets, Calgary, and infantry players this year. So, yeah, it's possible that Aiden and Kobe are on the same Jets team next year, which would be great.
Oh, that sounds
Mom and
good.
Dad would be real happy.
That would be nice to be on.
Chase around 75 everything's, so.
You'd get cut it down in half.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. My fuel bill in the summer is.
Yeah.
So the so next weekend would be, in Gillette, would be the Jets and Troopers there, for the Division I state, they're calling it now.
So you going? You're gonna be there?
We
You just love Gillette.
Troopers have a chance the Troopers probably have a chance to win it, legit chance to win it. The Jets, if they're the 4 seed, it's gonna be 0-2 and they're out, I think. If they're the 3 seed, they will lose, win, lose. They're gonna get, or there's a chance they win the first game because whoever they play won't throw their number 1 pitcher out because they'll underestimate.
What's the app that we can bet on?
Game Changer.
Okay, I'm gonna bet on Jeremy's.
Over under on Jeremy.
My handicap. If they have to play Cheyenne out of the gate as the 4 seed from the north, playing the 1 seed from the south, it's gonna be real tough. If they can be the 3 seed and have to play, probably Casper, they've got a chance, because I think Casper will do what
Back in my day, it
Casper
was
does.
Casper that was tough. Cheyenne wasn't so much.
Casper's very tough as well, but
Okay.
not as tough as Cheyenne.
Okay.
Are they combined to 1 team now, or are they still 2?
Casper or Cheyenne? Cheyenne has, 1 AA and you got 2 single A's I think now, so don't tell me that. Is that right? 1 AA, 2 single A's, yeah.
Yeah, that's a broke down, so.
I'm trying, okay, I'm green. Is everybody green?
Green.
Green.
Yes.
All right, hey, we're done talking sports. We're gonna get this thing started. All right, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, mission, vision, and values. Mission, empowering learners and enriching lives. Vision, creating meaningful opportunities to develop skills, expand knowledge, strengthen character, and empower tomorrow's leaders today. Values. Anybody want to do our values? Okay, here we go. Integrity, excellence, relationships, perseverance, collaboration. Ms. Stahl, can I have roll call, please?
Mrs. Beitman. Here. Mr. Adsit.
Here.
Mr. Crum.
Here.
Mr. Davidson.
Here.
And I am here.
What's that give us, Ms. Stahl?
A quorum.
All right, here we go. We have 5 of us, all of us. Good to see all of you. Yay.
Yay.
Woo, let's go. All right. I'm gonna remember to do this time, Wanda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? All right. We have an approved agenda. On time this time. Okay. You good, Wanda? I think that's the first time I'd ever forgot to, I don't know why I skipped over it, but I did. All right. It's Mr. Smith's big night. He has one once a year. This is a big night. Can I get a motion to enter into the fiscal year 2027 budget hearing at 6:04?
So moved.
Second.
Oh. Bill Adsit and Brian Davidson are on that. All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? All right. We're in it.
Mr. Chairman, tonight is the night where you will adopt your budget for fiscal year 2027. The good news is there are no changes since your May presentation, so we're going to be a little bit of a review, but I do have some numbers for how we're ending 2026 preliminary numbers. Some of those draft financials were included in your board packet. The finals, when we're done doing all the end of year entries and finishing state reports and making sure we're all done, you'll have the finals again with your August board meeting. So you'll see the June finals along with the July regular presentation in your August packet. The couple of things that were in your packet today, two things that I won't show you again, which is the growth, the gory detail of all the things, the line-by-line detail of the budget. What you guys are actually adopting tonight is this sort of very boring spreadsheet version of it, where it has the fund listed, the revenues for each of the funds, and then the expenditures by major function category of those funds. That's the level of detail of a budget you actually adopt. But you're presented the management level detailed budget, which rolls right up to all these things, so that you can see with the notes what and how and why we're doing things, and you have the multi-year view of what we've done in the past in all of those categories. But this, Mr. Chairman, was in your packet. I certainly can answer any questions, but this is just the raw numbers of it, I think, and so here you go. So in essence, we're asking you to adopt a almost $9 million revenue budget for the district, but just over a $33 million expenditure budget for the district. Most funds balance dollar for dollar, although not perfectly. And the general fund this year, Mr. Chairman, as we talked at the preliminary budget time, this will be the first time in my almost 30-year career I'm recommending to a board a deficit spending budget. All of that's, we've talked about, I think, plenty. Hopefully this is the one and done year of a deficit budget. Dr. Jones and I traveled to Lander a few weeks ago and had some presentations and conversations with the recalibration committee on those last 4 components of the education funding model that they're kind of continuing to look at. If they recalibrate those the way we think they will, and the bills go through the legislature, this deficit budget situation no longer exists in the following year. If they do not, Mr. Chairman, then this board, along with the administrative team, will have to have some different kinds of conversations on how to take what we're doing currently and bring it right back down into the resources available. So you have reserves, not substantive. You have about a 12% reserve. Other places in the state have a higher one than that. This district has always spent the money it got on its kids that year, which is kind of the point. So you can't really survive a deficit spending projection for multiple years. That isn't just something the district has enough resources to do. So, Mr. Chairman, this hopefully will be the one and only time in my career I present a deficit spending budget. So, but it's about 200,000, give or take. And so I'll show you the cool visual chart again in a second that kind of outlines which silos the money lives in and how those are independently affected. It's not just one pot of money anymore, it's a pot with dividers, if that makes sense. Okay? So that's the gross total, Mr. Chairman. So this district spends about takes in about $33 million in a year and expends about $33 million.
There goes your perfect record.
I know, I'm hosed, but it's okay. So this is the chart, I think you've seen, it was included in your packet again. We'll actually post this on the website. This is just a really nice, I hope it is for folks, it's just a quick visual understanding of how money flows, how the budgets are distinct these days for the different pieces of what we provide to students. The big green bar, of course, is the overall funding. I'm gonna pull this up just a little bit here. So that 227, you can see it right there. That's the difference between our expected revenues and our expected expenditures. That's the deficit part for the general fund. The other funds all truly balance themselves, they really do. And that is broken up into those different silos now. You've got the instructional silo, which is this cool peach color. Oh, my fingers did too much walking. This is the instructional silo here. That's where all of the magic happens for in-classroom experiences for our kids, okay? And I don't think Dr. Jones or I would ever criticize the idea of having that in terms of what it does for our kids and protects those activities and that intended funding for those activities. Again, I think it's a solid sort of strategic way to operate, right? You're gonna say, hey, we're giving you, the taxpayers giving you money for these things, spend it on these things. And that instructional silo is well funded. The things in there are honestly very well funded. We got kicked a little bit on class size ratios at our secondary schools, but I think the high schools and middle schools have done a nice adjustment to that. We were able to handle much of that through attrition this year, all of it, in fact, with attrition. And so we're slightly deficit spending in that, Mr. Chairman, but not really. One of the positions that we had budgeted for isn't likely to be filled this year, and so that kind of brings it pretty much to a zero, okay? The operations silo, this cool little purple thing, has all of the older things that the district does in it. Administration, nurses, counselors, secretaries, aides, maintenance, operations, utilities, etc. The list is there. This silo is not as well funded as the instructional silo, but that's really what we were in Lander talking with the legislature about. And I think they realize it now, right? It's hard to parse those things out, right? So if all this is mixed up in a jumbled pot, it's hard to say, hey, we weren't quite resourcing this adequately, or we weren't. This really brings some clarity and transparency to what taxpayers are funding. Yes, Mr. Hanson?
If you expect us to read that from here, your eyes are a lot better than mine.
All right, there you go. There you go. Better, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. And this is in your packet, and again, we'll put it on the website for all of our residents and taxpayers to see just exactly what we're anticipating. And then this is something we can improve and adapt to over time as these things happen. But I think it's important for people to know what activities of the district are inside each of those silos. What are the things? One of them that, right, wrong, or indifferent, Mr. Chairman, is this one right here, student activities. That was one of the main topics of conversation in Lander. Our district lost $150,000 this year, or $112,500 this year on student activities, year over year. And we have more kids we're serving, right? So the formula got changed. And I think the legislature's heard that loud and clear. I think Dr. Jones and I would strongly argue that student activities belongs in the instructional silo, not the operations silo, given its importance to what our kids do throughout their high school or middle school and high school experience. But that's a debate that can be had later, but it's certainly just not as resourced as it should be. I think that's one that will certainly be addressed in the interim. School resource officers is another one, and really that's we should probably put student safety and security in there as opposed to just SROs. But in our world, a lot of the money spent in that category is school resource officers. But certainly we have our visitor management systems, we have our camera systems, we have our training that's required. All of those things kind of fit in that bucket. That is one other area, Mr. Chairman, I think that the legislature is strongly considering some upgrades for the model. huge advantage to us if that's the case. We spend about $245,000 a year in that particular category and receive zero. There is no component funding for that. So if they funded just that one part, our deficit disappears, right? Same thing with student activities. If they were to go back to the original funding our district would get for that, you cut our deficit in half just in that one component. So, and Mr. Chairman, like I think the third one that really stands out to us is this student and classroom technology. There can be lots of conversations on what level that is and what that looks like, but what they're currently funding does nothing that anyone reasonably would consider appropriate. It's one computer for every 3 students. Kids don't share. Now, K2, you can have all kinds of conversations about that being an appropriate number, and absolutely, no argument, and that's kind of how we operate now. But certainly by the time you get to high school, every kid has their own device. And so I think we're making some traction on that. Again,
Is there any rationale on that? Why they think that kids in junior high and high school can share a computer? Or 3 kids can share?
Maybe Dr. Jones has more to add on
Mr.
that.
Chairman,
I certainly couldn't answer that.
The discussion that I remember from the panels, there were some virtual gatherings where the consultants took feedback from stakeholders across the state. What were they called? PJPs?
PJPs.
Yeah. And during those discussions, this question was brought up, and then also I believe it was discussed in some of the recalibration meetings. And what I remember the consultant saying was something along, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something along the lines of the model funds based on the fact that you would have carts of Chromebooks, you'd have labs, you would have those types of things, and those all count towards your student need. In other words, it's a bigger picture. And what I mean by that is, you could still fund 1-to-1 with every kid, but that's still not going to be enough. You still need a lab for some of the advanced classes that require special equipment and so on. And so what the consultant was saying is, we're recommending X amount of computers, but that takes into account all of the labs that you have and some of those other things. And
So that takes away from every student.
there's a balance there. He's saying that the 1-to-1, in addition to all of the recommendations for the labs and everything else, is not currently what the recommendation is.
So it should probably be like a 1.6 to every student.
Well,
Counting out the labs.
I think there's a lot
Or
of
whatever the number is.
The
It's
problem,
more than 1-to-1.
the problem is the way we teach nowadays. Even though you don't necessarily need to have a lot of screen time, and I testified to that, it's very problematic if you want to utilize instruction and you have to prepare to share computer space with other teachers in other classrooms. I've lived in an environment, it's called Idaho, and it was maddening for teachers in my building, because they would try to plan lessons, but then they would have to say, okay, can I schedule the cart, around this time? And it's not great.
Mr. Chairman, I think one of the key problems, and this is my testimony, was there is no component for teacher computers. So we can have the conversation all day at K-5, what's the appropriate number of machines per person and all that kind of stuff. But 612 is probably a different level of conversation about what those per student ratios are. But then in the meantime, there is no component of the funding model for a teacher computer. And I don't think anyone's arguing that teachers shouldn't have computers, right? Or that our maintenance guys are using these to control the HVAC systems, or our school secretaries have them to access PowerSchool. So the 1-to-1 gets kind of glommed into this idea of screen time, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's just a proxy for the amount of technology we need in total, right? There is not a person on the planet who thinks, I think in my mind, that every kindergarten kid should be on a device all day long screening. That's not what we're talking about. But the proxy for funding is, if we did $450 a year for every kid, that gets a district the amount of resources it needs to provide machines to teachers, to secretaries, to our maintenance folks, then to have our CAD labs for our high school kids, to have our sports marketing class have its version of, computer it needs, and then for our high school kids to have their individual Chromebooks, some shared version, K-5 and 4, however that works. It's a proxy for delivering a resource. It's not a specific instructional method. That's what we were trying to get away. Dr. Jones had good testimony when, this isn't about instruction. We're not gonna have screen time and well, that's not what it's about. It's just about, how does a business manager get a laptop? Where does that come from? How does a boardroom get cameras to broadcast its activities to its patrons? That comes out of this here. And so that was what we were trying to say, and I'm not sure they soaked all that in because they got kind of crossed up with how much screen time kindergartners have. And they're like, not the same thing, but they're working on it, and I think.
So
the progress is
all of
made.
our technology gets lumped into this pool.
Correct, Mr. Chairman. That's what we were trying to tell them, that what you're funding is a proxy for the whole thing. If you want to get really specific, that's deeper in the weeds, let's have that conversation. But, and licenses and power, it just all of those things are in that same pile. So we were trying to get them out of the weeds and to go bigger. They were in the weeds. I'm like, well, okay, you want to get in the weeds, let's get down into the soil now. Like, let's try, let's dial it up. So Mr. Chairman, that's kind of what's in that those are to the two that are sort of the activities, right? The peach and purple, those are the main activities of the district. Then what this stuff is over here, Mr. Chairman, that they're funding as categorical grants now is reimbursements for our pension and our health insurance. And so those are big improvements that this new education model has done for our district. Other districts might argue other things, but our district, these are good changes for us. And so what we spend on retirement, we get back the next month. What we spend on health insurance, we get back the next year. It's a little delayed in that, but it's okay, because it's how we know how to survive that, okay? The other things, Mr. Chairman, that didn't really change, special education and transportation, those are still reimbursed the next year, with the exception of special ed out-of-district placements, those very expensive students, and we have one right now, Mr. Chairman, it's gonna cost about $650,000 this next year to be served in the environment to which the IEP requires. It's just the student has that level of stuff. And so they're out-of-district placed, it's a residential placement, that costs $650,000 just one student.
Wow.
Now, in years past, we had to wait 12 months to get that full reimbursement back. Now it's done quarterly. That's a huge improvement cash flow-wise for a district such as ours. So, Mr. Chairman, I have the actual figures there. You can see on what we expect in revenues and expenditures in these things. In transportation, the same. Bus purchases are now reimbursed the month after you acquire the bus. It used to be on a lease purchase basis. Or on a 5-year replacement cycle, or a 5-year reimbursement cycle if you bought it. So great improvements in that. Other sort of ancillary activities of the district, Mr. Chairman, that are funded by federal and state grants or parents and community funding. Our food service programs, our federal and state grants, our Bighorn preschool, and then our BOCES and BOCHES, which are the half meals that this board adopts for those activities. And as a quick reminder, those fund, I'll slide over here, just making that bigger. So those half meals are our early childhood programs, our dual and concurrent enrollment costs with Sheridan College, and additional CTE needs of our district for equipment, training, and personnel. So the funding model does a fairly decent job of sort of a broad version of CTE, but we have a different need for CTE in our area, given our light manufacturing and ag base still, and so our ag programs are expensive. And so this additional half mil provides funding so that our kids get that great experience. So, but those are funded directly by our parents and community through that. Mr. Chairman, that's it. I think I'm happy to answer any questions. To where we ended this year. So, Mr. Chairman, we are on our revenue side of life, I have that in our packet, and this will be pretty accurate. I do have to do a few little odds and ends, Mr. Chairman, on the revenue summary. We received it 99.5%, 99.57% of what I had estimated in the budget, so I'll call that 100, but it's not quite 100, so 99.57. Just under $23 million, Mr. Chairman, for the general fund. Our expenditures in the general fund, as I'm calculating them, are going to come in about $220,000 less than that, less than what we took in. So we'll have a net positive cash position increase of about $220,000. So it's pretty close given a $23 million budget. That's
Not bad.
It's close.
It's not bad.
So it's all right. So, Mr. Chairman, that's it. Happy to answer any questions. Again, just remembering what you adopt as a board is the really boring, summary spreadsheet, because that's how you function on this. At this level, you've been provided the management level, so you can
Bless you.
see line by line. You can see how much we're spending on gas, mowing lawns at Tongue River High School. That level of detail is in there if you want to geek out on it. And we also post that on our website as well, so citizens can really just dial in on that and kind of go, hey, I don't like what you're spending at Bighorn Elementary School on activities for kids. I think that's too much or something. They can see that level of detail if they choose. So all this will be available tomorrow on the website.
Well, thank you for the
It's
transparency.
already on there in the board packet, but it'll be, I think, between Wanda and Tassie and I, we'll get it figured out to be on there tomorrow if you were to adopt it.
Mr. Smith, I had a quick question on the operational silo
Yes.
on the purple one, the
Yes.
last item. Yes, down at the very bottom, where it said,
Keep going.
school teacher level budgets.
Yes.
Would there be any funding in there if we had to replace staff technology, staff laptops, or?
That's a great question, Mr. Chairman, Mrs. Whiteman. So what we give to our schools, the school level budget that they can control, is what we get on a per student basis for supplies and materials in the funding model. So we give them 95% of it. We keep 5% to buy the copiers for the schools. But that's what they get. And so to your point, Mrs. Whiteman, school principals in their administrative teams that they have at their buildings can absolutely spend it on any of those types of needs as well, and they do. To your point, very often that's where the very specialized equipment comes from, and so I'm just thinking about like 3D printers, and so some of our art programs now have those 3D printers available. Science, often that's where their more expensive machinery comes from, microscopes, et cetera, comes from that budget. But certainly, any school or classroom tech could come from that. They're not large budgets, but still certainly it could be spent. Absolutely.
And just to piggyback on that, Mr. Chairman and Ms. Biden, one of the things that I think is worth mentioning with the school teacher level budgets, and I just know from being a principal in a building in the district, you have your building budget. When I first started as a principal back in the day, not in this district, but years ago, it was common in schools to say, all right, every classroom teacher, you get, $400 or whatever, and when that's spent, you're done. And then you go and you spend your own money at Walmart or wherever. That's not practical for a lot of reasons. Sometimes in certain classrooms, because of what's happening with curriculum or what's happening just with technology and whatever, there's a certain department that actually needs more money. And if you just strictly, cut the cake exactly the same every single year and try to keep to that, you're actually making it worse for students in the long run. The second piece of that, if you remember a policy that we worked on a while back about fundraising, it kind of ties back to this, and I'm going to really make sure that there's a few things that really we worked on in the last couple months in terms of policy that are going to really be important to communicate well with the teachers. The administrators are already aware, but That's one of them, and that is that if you need something for your classroom, or you're tempted to do a fundraiser or something like that, there's that exhibit, that form that we're asking people to fill out. Basically, it kind of says, please go to your administrator and ask them if they can provide the funds to help you get what you need. And then if you don't have that, then there's a process, that little form to fill out, where we can work to get you what you need by pulling the funds together and making sure that we meet people's needs without forcing people to go out and, you know, open up the guitar case and sing on Saturdays downtown or whatever.
I'll never discourage that though, by the way.
Yeah, and to that point, Mr. Chairman, we think the budgets that we provide in schools are adequate to provide every single thing a kid would need to learn adequate, you know, to learn the curriculum at a high level in most countries, right? And so I think Dr. Jones and what you guys are creating as a policy is to be reflective of, like, this is the stuff that's the nice to haves, this is the in addition to, this is not instead of taxpayer funding, right? This is a different level of whatever that is in that classroom. And so, and I know Dr. Jones and I meet regularly with the principals and have this very conversation. Do you have all the resources you need to be able to provide that, you know, guaranteed basket of goods in your classrooms? You're being careful about that, because people shouldn't get twisted up about that it takes this fundraising effort for kids to learn in our district. At least not under our watch anyway. So,
Right.
So great, yeah, good follow-up. I'm happy to, and we can.
Is a lot of that just not knowing and not checking in and just an assumption?
Mr. Chairman, I think in the past, none of these principals exist now. So let's just say that. In the past, we've had principals who just were really, really tight for no good reason, because we don't let them carry it over for the next year. And so a teacher could come to them and have a very good idea about something they needed, and they're like, no. And we're like, what are you doing? Like, you're not saving, it's to be spent on these kids this year. Like, that's why our district doesn't have massive reserves, right? Like, that's not the point. The taxpayers provide these funds that they earn and give to us, right, through their property taxes and other means, and they expect us to spend them on their kids. That's kind of the point, right? And so that's what we do. And so, same kind of thing. It's not, principals don't need to be extra tight here. We're giving you this money out of that. Please don't give us back the last dollar. It's okay, keep it. You know, don't spend another penny, but keep, spend what you get.
To this point, we actually, Mr. Chairman, we actually had this question for our staff on the climate survey. Overall, my district provides sufficient resources for me to do my job well. And I just did the math here in the pie chart. 96% either strongly agreed or agreed. Mr. Smith was the only one, I think, that didn't.
Could be true.
Okay, that's a pretty good number.
I think the question that is, because it's the most public thing we do, is our student activities, right? Are we providing all of the things everybody has a very different sense of what we should provide in student activities. There's not general consensus or agreement. We do the best we can, but there's a lot of that. So hopefully the fundraising that people are doing are around those kinds of things, but math, science, language arts, social studies, foreign language, art, music, all that should be adequately provided for in the funding model. We believe it is. So. With the exception of really expensive musical instruments. Those are a different spending. I don't agree with those. So, all right, Mr. Chairman.
Do you guys have any other questions for Mr. Smith?
And this doesn't mean you can't ask questions later. Always available for more time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And does the public have anything to comment on? There's not much public here. I don't even know if you count as public, Brendan. All right, can I get a motion to come out of the fiscal year 2027 budget hearing at 6:33?
So
I'm gonna give Brian that, and I'm gonna give Morgan the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed. All right. Nice. Do we have any visitor comments? I don't even count you as a visitor.
I respect that heck of a lot more hours.
All right. All right, we're on to reports. The WSCA report. Have you guys ever heard of WSCA report?
Nope.
No. It's been years since I've heard one. Administrators report, business managers report. Anything else to add, Mr. Smith? Or are you good?
Mr. Chairman, just one quick thing that happened today. Our summer food service program, I think I reported in here about where our numbers are. We're in the 120s for lunch and 30s. We had a representative from the Wyoming Department of Ed. She came today for our once every 3-year review. Seems like everything went well. We didn't even need to schedule an exit conference. And in our world, if you don't have to schedule an exit conference, that means you like.
You're all good.
Everything. Yeah. Might be a tweak here or there. She said something about the yogurt we serve with the Dutch waffles needs to have more yogurt or something. I mean, there's always something, Mr. Chairman. They don't come to you without leaving you with something to work on, so.
Well, yogurt's important.
It needs more protein, so we have to use a different yogurt.
Different cow.
Yeah, give 8 ounces of yogurt feels like a lot, so
Right.
we don't want to do that. So
Okay.
we'll find a different yogurt, but yeah, Mr. Chairman, that went well. That just happened today, so
All right, good.
that's it.
All right, thank you. All right, superintendent's report. Anything for us, Dr. Jones?
Nothing to add, other than I would just like to ask the board if you would like to, I'm thinking about the strategic plan. And if you look ahead, we have our next meeting is, I believe, August 18th.
Regular
Board meeting. Yeah.
Correct, yeah, regular board meeting. And then we have, and Wanda, maybe cross-check this, but I think we have, the work session then would be 2 weeks after that?
We
Tuesday,
have one on the 28th, July 28th.
Yeah.
do we?
Special
Yeah.
meeting is.
Okay.
Yeah, work session on the 28th of July.
Okay. That's right, that's right.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
What I was wanting to
Get out of
do is revisit the strategic plan a bit then, discuss it and so on. Now it's coming back here. And then when we have our next regular meeting on August 18th, we'll kind of be getting back into the flow of things. The administrators will just be meeting with their staffs and so on. And then the next work session would be September 1st, correct? Tuesday, September 1st?
So are we gonna get back to where the work session is before the school board meeting? Because we have been off that schedule for quite a while now.
It's like every other 2 weeks?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just, yeah,
but we've been having.
it's
we
been
have
like the
school-
last Tuesday.
We have the
and now
meeting
we're gonna
and
go
then
back to the first
the work
Tuesday.
session afterwards, and it's always been,
The first Tuesday.
the first Tuesday was always the work session, and then the third Tuesday was the board meeting. So we'll get back to that in September.
Yeah, Tuesday, September 1st would be
Okay.
back to it. What I was getting to is that it would be nice in that work session, since it's so early in the school year, September 1st. I think it would be valuable to bring the administrative team to that work session, the principals, curriculum director and so on, special ed director. And we could have a pretty good conversation around the strategic plan, really keying in on the initiatives that you want to build action plans around. Because I think having that conversation just with the board and just with the administrators, I think it's less effective. So, I mean, we're gonna have conversations on our own in the next work session, and they'll have their conversations when they first arrive back. But having that September 1st time to get together.
It would be nice to have that interaction with them.
Yeah, I
about
think it'd
that.
be valuable.
Yeah.
So that was just something I'd throw out there, and then I'll plan accordingly. And then I would also just like to say, I kind of did a attaboy, attagirl type of thing with my board report, with the people that have been working hard in the summer. We have a lot of people giving their best effort all year long, and that includes the summer crew. And so I wanted to spotlight them. And then also, just also publicly thank Mr. Smith for all of the work on the budget this year, because of all of the meetings that we've had and the conversations with the recalibration committees and so on.
Right.
It's been a lot, and so appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. We have a great team, an administrative team, including Dr. Jones, and we had lots of conversations about how how this once a generation redo of the education resource block grant, well, let's call it resource model now, not a block grant, but how it's affected our operations, what we're going to do. And right now, I think it's made some good improvements. The funding, we kind of have some stability around, especially the regional cost adjustment. Us receiving the same amount for a particular District 2 receives, made all the magic happen, to be real, to be fair. So, but it was a lot about drove the night cars and various meetings, it was a lot.
Yeah.
And I was kind of hoping it would be over, but we're going to keep the recalibration for the rest of this summer, and then maybe then it's over for a while. So,
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. We have a good crew that works year-round in this building. And,
We do.
appreciate it.
Lucky to have you, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you good, Dr. Jones?
Yes, thank
All
you.
right. All right, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, please?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you,
Second.
thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? All right. All right, now, old business, we have none. New business, we have approval of policies, first reading. EEAG, EAG-R1, EAG-E1, EEAG-E2, IGB, IKA-R1, K1, K1-E1, KHI, KHI-E1, IGBFA, IGBFA-E1, and IGBFA-R1 on first reading as presented, please. And please don't make me say that again. Don't you dare, Mr. Davidson.
I think you missed an E in there.
I think I did. Can I get a motion, please?
I make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, discussion? All right, all those in favor?
I
Um,
Did I have?
Okay, no,
I don't have
I
my
do.
cheat sheet. I wrote.
You do. You have the cheat sheet right here. Here you go.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman and members of the board, I just wanted to point out a couple things. If you go to IGBFA-R1, I'll say that again, it's at the top, it's at the top of the page of your listing here. It's the very top two. The first one says Regulation IGBFA. And then the one that goes with it, the exhibit, IGBFA exhibit, English Language Learner Programs, the district plan and the English Language Learner Plan. Everybody with me on that? So you will notice that those are being recommended to be eliminated. You see that they're struck out. The text is struck out on both of those. And I wanted to give you the background on that. The reason for that is that this is in conversation with Dr. Clifford, our special ed director, and our EL coordinator for the district, English, kids that need help learning English as their second language. So we have a district procedure guide that is fully aligned with the requirements from the Wyoming Department of Education. And that procedure guide, by design, is very fluid because the documents within that procedure guide naturally get updated quite frequently. She had mentioned some examples that some of the assessments that are used to test the proficiency of English for some of the students, they're changing those quite frequently because they have better data and so on. And so her recommendation is that the school district just continue to use the district procedural guide that she uses, and many districts use because it's aligned to what's required by the state, but not to be using the district policy or having this stuff in district policy because A, it's not accurate, and B, you would be coming every 3 or 4 months changing district policy, rather than just adjusting the practice within the district procedural guide as per the Wyoming Department of Education. So it's not realistic to operate that program out of documents within a district policy, other than what you see, which is, will stay, and that's kind of the introduction to that group of policies. If you go back one, it starts out with policy IGBFA, English Language Learner Programs, and you'll notice that nothing is struck out in that policy. That kind of captures the policy, but the actual workings of the policy would be taking place in that district procedure guide, and that would be the best approach. So that's what that was. I'll stop for any questions on that. Otherwise, I've got a couple other points to bring up.
Bring them.
All right. Mr. Chairman, if you look at policy KHI, sponsorship and recognition. KHI, sponsorship and recognition. So in our work session previously, we had some discussion around this potential policy and the language, and I wanted to bring your attention to the last paragraph on policy KHI, sponsorship and recognition. I spoke with legal counsel about this last paragraph, and specifically, potential sponsors, organizations seeking to make a donation in excess of $2,500 must complete the KHI exhibit. That's the sponsorship and recognition agreement that corresponds with that policy. That's that corporation or business that's wanting to donate the money and receive some sort of recognition in signage or whatever. And the conversation with legal counsel was, before this $2,500 was there, the question that was asked to me was, well, I mean, when is this going to be used? Because if you look further up, I believe it's the third paragraph, it says recognition may be included in signage, logos, plaques, scoreboards, facility displays, printed materials, websites, event programs. Well, that's a broad range. An event program, you know, if you have your business listed in there, do they need to fill a form out for that? So the recommendation was, don't have people fill out the form and go through that protocol unless it's an amount that's exceeding $2,500. So I would throw that out there if you guys feel comfortable with that. And then I asked the question that was brought up before about, you know, how do we let other businesses know, hey, this is an opportunity if you'd like a crack at supporting this. And I asked our legal counsel about that. And he said he didn't feel it was necessary to have any kind of formal way of announcing this to anyone. He felt like if you wanted to go and reach out to a corporation or a business and ask if they would be interested in helping, that there's nothing that he had any concerns with if we just approach it that way.
Facebook Marketplace, we just put it out there.
Yeah. So. Nothing else to report on that. And then the last comment I wanted to make, and I believe it is on policy, actually I think the solicitation. Policy KI.
The last one.
Oh, yeah, policy KI, solicitation and vendor sales in the schools. Give you a chance to. So one of the things that isn't addressed is that I think this policy does a good job of making some protocols be in place for principals to approve, you know, posters that are being requested to be hung in schools and so on. And you'll notice in there the way that we're going to monitor whether something has actually been approved would be them signing off on the poster itself. I don't know how else to do that. So that was kind of the proposal there. But the thing that's not in here that I would like to add, and this is still first reading, but I would like to add. Quite often, there are things that are brought to the district level, maybe the front office here at the central office, and it's something that somebody wants to share. Maybe it's a volleyball camp district-wide or whatever, and so it's not happening at the principal level. It's happening at the central office level, and then it comes to me, and the question is it okay if we post this in the school district, or can you share this in with your parent newsletter or whatever? So I would just like to add something that says things that are presented at the district level that are being asked to be shared at the district-wide level, the superintendent would have the responsibility, just like the principal would, if it was just specific to a building. So I would add that language. I just haven't added it yet, but it'll be in there for you for your second reading.
I think that's a good thing to add, right?
That was it, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Spikeman, do you have any questions? Really? How about you, Mr. Adsett? You good?
I have one
Okay.
issue
All right.
that I'd like to suggest. I think this is it. Yeah, on classified staff, last meeting we discussed some of the things, and it doesn't change anything as far as what's written, other than readability.
Sorry to interrupt you,
If you
Mr.
go
Adsett.
to policy GD,
Okay.
classified staff, second draft.
What's the name of the policy?
Classified staff,
Classified staff.
I think that was approved at the last meeting.
Second reading?
That was already at second reading at the last meeting. Right?
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
just trying to clear up some of the language. And I'm not sure that I'm in the right one here yet. Got so many of these strung around that I lost track. Progress.
And
Yeah,
certainly,
this deals with classified staff. It's policy GD, classified staff.
okay.
Okay. What I'd like to propose is changing the wording a little bit. Just going with what it says. The board recognizes that classified staff members play a valuable role in education of our students and will support their efforts. My suggestion is that classified staff members play an integral role in the education of our students and support their efforts, leaving out the will and changing valuable to integral.
Okay.
And then in the next sentence, it says all classified staff positions in the school district will be established initially by the board. I would suggest changing the will to shall, mostly just for readability.
Okay.
And then each job description shall be approved by the board before it is effective.
Okay.
Chairman Crum, since we
Yes.
have voted on that one at the last meeting, is that one that we would
So-
take out?
Well, that's
Put
one we'd
back
have
for
to
re-
circle back to.
Yeah.
And you could certainly meet with Dr. Jones and add those, and we can go back to those. We could
Mr.
certainly
Chairman,
do
what
that.
I'd like to do, if it's okay, like when we're done, I would like to make a copy of your notes so that I have the specific language that you have. Would that be okay?
Sure.
Because I think it's good language.
Yeah.
It's good
It
language.
shortens it up.
It's really a grammaric thing. It doesn't change anything.
Right.
It's just the grammar.
Right.
And when we're putting a policy together, we, for the public's purpose, we really need to use correct grammar.
Good grammar. So, I grew up with an English teacher as a mom, so you'd think my grammar would be better. I appreciate that, Mr. Edsett, thank you. All right, anything else? Mr. Davidson?
Nothing.
You're good, all right. Ms. Dolly?
Nothing.
All right, okay. All right, we're on to the fiscal year 2027 budget. That's fine. Mr. Smith has pit stains tonight. He doesn't even get those anymore for this, do you?
What's that?
Never mind. All right,
Bad hearing these days.
okay. All right, can I get a motion to adopt the fiscal year 2027 budget, including 25 mills for special district tax, 1 mill for Sheridan County School District 1 Recreation District, half a mill for Sheridan Johnson Bochies, and half a mill for Hot Springs Early Childhood BOCES, as presented, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? All right. We've got a budget.
You paid payroll today on that.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Yes, thank you. All right, moving on to handbooks, our favorite thing. Motion to approve the 2026-27 handbooks. Employee, crisis, IT as presented, please.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Edsett. Any questions, comments? We've spent some time on these handbooks this year. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? All right, we have approved the handbooks. All right, next is the student activity handbook. Can I get a motion to approve the 2026-27 student activity handbook as presented, please?
I make that motion.
Thank you, Ms. Davison.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ms. Stolick. Any questions, comments? I feel like our last work session, 3/4 of it was on this one topic here. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? All right, thank you. All right, moving on to the extra duty slates. Can I get a motion to approve the extra duty slate as presented, please?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? All right, thank you. The annual leave bank. That's something I want every year. I don't ever get the annual leave bank. Do you, Mr. Davidson? I want an annual leave bank. I don't know what it is, but I want
I wish
one.
I knew what it was.
I really want an annual leave bank. Sounds so good. Actually, I do know what it is. Can I get?
I'll let Memo explain it a little.
Can I get a motion to approve the annual leave bank as presented, please?
I make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Is that you, Ms. Pipeman, on that? Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? All right. All right, we're on to correspondence.
I have none.
Come on, make some up. Give me something. No correspondence. How's baseball going for you?
I don't even,
Do you even do baseball?
no.
Oh.
It's not even a blip on my radar.
Is there wrestling?
It
in the
is
summer?
one sport that I
Wow.
don't have to worry about. I know.
What about hockey? There's hockey in the summer, isn't
Little
there? Okay. All right, board member reports, requests, concerns. Mr. Davidson, give me a concern.
I have no concerns or reports.
Okay. All right, thank you. Ms. Stolick,
I have none.
okay. Ms. Byman,
No.
Mr. Adsett,
None.
okay. And I have none either. We do have a joint powers board meeting next week, but I'm guiding in that. And for full disclosure, I have given him permission to sign up. Since I'm treasurer, it's a stretch that it's really hard for me to get in and sign checks. I pre-sign the checks. So, we're good on that. We do have a BOCES meeting, July 30th, 5:30 in Buffalo. So, that's the next thing on the BOCES. Do you have anything to add on? Do you have any
I don't,
requests? Do you
Mr.
have
Chairman.
concerns?
I don't.
Okay. Someday I want somebody to have a concern. Mr. Saunders, do you have any concerns? Thank you. All right. Do we have any executive sessions tonight? We don't. All right. We're good? Was that yours?
Yeah. I was
Okay.
just giving it a treat for a second.
All right, then I guess we are adjourned. Thank you.